Welcome to our learning activity video on Senior High School Statistics and Probability, Quarter 3, Week 2C. Objective: the learner calculates the mean and variance of a discrete random variable. For the generalizations, the mean of a discrete random variables is also known as the expected value. This is the weighted average of all possible values of the random variables, say x, and usually it is denoted as the Greek letter mu. So the formula for computing the mean is, we have the mu equals the summation of x sub 1 times p of x sub 1 plus x sub 2 times p of x sub 2 plus x sub 3 multiplied to the probability of x sub 3 up to x sub n times the probability of x sub n. We have here x sub 1, x sub 2 up to x sub n are the values of the random variable x. Usually, it could be 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on up to n. And the p of x sub 1, that's the probability of the first random variable value. Then p of x sub 2, p of x sub 3, up to p of x sub n. These are the corresponding probabilities of the random variable x. The variance is the measure of spread or dispersion. It measures the variation of the values of the random variable from the mean. The variance is denoted by sigma squared, comes from the Greek letter sigma, and the standard deviation is denoted by the Greek letter sigma. So the formula for the variance, we have sigma squared equals the summation of quantity x minus the mean mu, close quantity, and then square, multiplied it to the probability of x. And the formula for the standard deviation is just the square root of the variance. So sigma equals the square root of the summation of quantity x minus mu squared multiplied by p of x. Exercise number 1. The reporter of a weather bureau on the forecasts of the number of typhoons entering the country's area of responsibility in the following probability distribution. So we have the number of typhoons entering the Philippine area of responsibility per month and denoted by x. Then we have the corresponding probabilities p of x. So for 0 in a month, that's 15%. 1 typhoon in a month, that's 35%. 2 typhoons in 1 month, that's 30% occurrence. 3 typhoons, that's 10%. And 4 typhoons, that's 10%. So if we combine this, it should be the case that the total probability should sum up to 1 as discussed in our previous lessons. Now we have 0.15 or 0.15 or 15% plus 35%, that's 50%. Then 0.30, 0.3 plus 0.1 plus 0.1, this becomes 0.5 or 50%, a total of 100%, or simply 1. The sum is 1. So this is a probability distribution. Now, we are to find the average number of typhoon entering the country per month. And for letter B, we are to find the standard deviation. So what is the first step? The first step is we come up with a table as what we had in the previous video lessons. So we have here a table indicating the random variable x, and we have the values of the random variable x 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 as reflected in the table in the previous slide. Now p of x given is 0 typhoon, that's 15% or 0.15. Then we have 1 typhoon, that's 0.35. I just copy it in the previous table. So we have it here. And then we have to multiply this random variable x times its probability p of x. So 0 times 0.15, that is 0. Then 1 times 1 times 0.35, that is 0.35. Of course, any number multiplied to 1 is that number. And any number multiplied to 0 equals 0. 2 times 0.30, that is 0.60. Then 3 times 0.10, that is 0.30. And 4 times 0.10 is 0.40 or 0.4. Now, we have to calculate the sum of this. So we add all. And adding this will give us 1.65. So we can have a shortcut for this. 0.6 plus 0.4, that's 1. Then 0.35 plus 0.3, that is 0.65 plus 1. So the mean mu is equal to 1.65 typhoons in a month. And of course, we don't have this kind because the number of typhoons is a discrete variable. Then we can round it off to 2 typhoons in a month. So later we can see this in the conclusion. Moving on to find the sigma or the standard deviation, we have, since we already found the mu, which is 1.65, we subtract it from the values of x. So let's do that here. So this is 0 minus 1.65, that is negative 1.65. Then we have 1 minus 1.65, that is negative 0.65. Then 2 minus 1.65, that is 0.35. Then 3 minus 1.65, that is 1.35. 4, we have 2.35. So we're done with this column, the x minus mu column. Then what are we going to do next? Well, this column, multiplied it to itself or square it. So negative 1.65 squared, it becomes positive. And if you have the calculator, you can verify it with me that 1.65 squared, that is 2.7225. That's it. Now we have 0.65. You square that. We have here 0.4225. 0.35 squared is equal to 0.1225. The 1.35 square it is 1.8225. And 2.35 squared is equal to 5.5225. Then the last column will be this column multiplied to the probability given, p of x, this one. So you can do that, you can follow, or you can do this together with me. 2.7225 times 0.15, that is 0.408375. Then we have here 0.4225 times 0.35. Then we have 0.147875. Next, we have 0.1225 times 0.3. Then we have here 0.03675. Let's continue here. 1.8225 times 0.1, that is equal to 0.18225. Then we have 5.5225 times 0.1 is equal to, we just simply move one decimal place to the left from this. We move it here. So we have 0.55225. Then finally, sigma squared is the sum of the 5 values in the last column here. So if you can verify using the calculator and round it off to 2 decimal places, then sigma squared is equal to the summation of the last column here, and the last column indicates this expression x minus mu quantity squared times the probability of x, and that is 1.33. So let's move on to the sigma. We are asked to find the standard deviation. So sigma is just the square root of 1.33. So if you press in your calculator 1.33 and then take the square root of 1.33, it will give you 1.1532 and so on. So you just round it off to 2 decimal places. Hence, we have here the average number of typhoons entering the country in a month is 2. There are 2 typhoons because it's 1 point something there earlier. And the standard deviation is 1.15. Okay. So let's move on to exercise number 2. The following random variables show the number of successful trials in joining a sports competition. So find the mean and the standard deviation. So again, similar solution or similar process with exercise number 1. Let's have this given table, success x. We name it random variable x is given in your module. Then we have the value 0, 1, 2, 3 and the probability of x. Now what is x here? X is the number of successful trials in joining sports competition. So meaning if a certain student there is 0 successful trial, so in any trial you don't have any success, so the probability that you join a sports competition is 15% or 0.15. If one success trial in joining a sports competition, so you try and then you get successful ones, then the probability of joining is 35% or 0.35. If it's 2, then we have 0.2. If it's 3, then we have 0.3. Now we have the table again. Then for the solution, we have to compute the average number of successful trials in joining a sports competition. So we have this formula, mu equals the summation of x times p of x. So let's do this here one by one. So the mu is 0 times 0.15, then plus. So we have it here, the plus, then 1 times the probability given, 0.35, then plus 2 times 0.2, plus 3 times 0.3. We have it here. Then solving, we have 0 here, then plus 0.35, then the product of 2 times 0.2 is 0.4, then plus 3 times 0.3 is 0.9. Summing this up will give us 1.65. So the mu is 1.65 or rounded off to 2. Then we have to find sigma squared. Sigma squared is the summation of x minus mu. So we already have the mu 1.65 times the probability of x. So in this case, 0 minus 1.65 mu. Then we square that times the probability 0.15. Plus, if x is 1 minus the mu 1.65, you square that multiplied by its probability 0.35 plus 2 minus the mean mu 1.65, then square that times the probability 0.2 plus 3 minus 1.65 quantity squared times the probability, which is 0.3. Summing this up will give us this value. You can verify these values in your calculator, and it is 1.059125, or simply rounding off to 2 decimal places, we have 1.06 for sigma squared. This is the variance. And getting the standard deviation is just take the square root of 1.06, and standard deviation sigma is equal to 1.05. 3. Hence, the average number of successful trials in joining a sports competition is 1.65, rounded up to 2 successful trials. Then the standard deviation is 1.03. So for the enrichment activity, we have the following random variables show the incentives given and the increase in productivity of a factory worker. Find the mean incentive and the standard deviation. So we have the similar process. So incentives, we have 1, 2, 3, up to 5 incentives. Increase in productivity. So we have the probability here is 1 9, 2 nights, then 1/3 or 3 nights, then 2 nights and 1/9. If you try to look at this probability, it should be equal to 1. So let's try to verify first. 1 plus 2 nights, we have 3 nights, that's 1/3, and this is another 1/3, that's 2/3, and then 2 plus 1, that's 3 nights, another 1/3. So 3 times 1/3, we have 1. So we're done. Solution, we have to compute for the mean mu. So the mean mu with this given table is just the product of the random variable x times its corresponding probability, and then once you're done, you take the sum of this given. So let's do that. 1 times 1/9 plus 2 times 2/9 plus 3 times 1/3 plus 4 times 2/9 plus 5 times 1/9. Then we have here, simplifying this, we have 1/9 plus 2 times 2, that's 4/9. Then we cancel 3 and 3 here, that becomes 1. Plus 4 times 2/9, so it is 8/9. Plus 5 times 1, 5/9. Then we have 1. Then we have also 1 ninth plus 8 ninths, that's 9/9, that's 2. 4 plus 5, that's 9/9, that's another 1. So we have it here, 3. So the mean is 3. So for sigma, since we have already the mean, mu is equal to 3, sigma squared is the summation of the quantity x minus mu, close quantity, you square that, times it with its probability given here. Let's do that here. So mu is 3. Then sigma squared equals 1. 1 minus mu is 3. You square that. Then times the probability 1/9. Then we move on. If x is 2 minus 3 mu, square that, times 2/9. Plus 3 minus 3 squared times 1/3. Then we have, this is automatic 0. Then plus 4 minus 3, the mean, square that, times 2 ninths, we're here. Then plus 5 minus 3 squared times 1/9. So we simplify further. So we have 1 minus 3, this is -2, square that, it's 4 ninths. Then we have it here, -1, so square that, it's 1 times 2 ninths, that's 2 ninths. Plus another 2 ninths here. And this one is 5 minus 3, that's 2, square that, it's 4. Then times 1/9, that's 4 ninths. Or summing this up, we have 12/9 or 4/3, or simply 1.33. This is the variance or the sigma squared. So we are to look for the square root of sigma squared, and that is the standard deviation. So square root of 1.33 is 1.15. Hence, the mean incentives is 3 and the standard deviation is 1.15.
If you are not yet a subscriber of my channel, kindly subscribe and please don't forget to like and share. And if you are a subscriber, you will be updated with more uploads for these learning activity videos. Thank you and always stay happy, healthy, and safe.